Did you know that one of England's most famous landmarks is said to echo with the screams of the dead? The Tower of London, once a royal palace, a treasury, and a prison, is now known as one of the most haunted places on Earth. Behind its thick stone walls, history and horror walk hand in hand. Every brick, every shadow, has a story soaked in blood. It began nearly 1,000 years ago. In 1078, William the Conqueror built this mighty tower as a symbol of power and fear. The white stone fortress rose over the River Thames, shining in daylight but hiding darkness within. From the very start, it wasn't just a royal residence. It was a warning. To the people of England, it said one thing: the king's will is law, and anyone who defied that law would face their fate inside these walls. Centuries passed, and the tower's purpose grew darker. Kings and queens were crowned and beheaded within sight of its gates. In the 1500s, during the reign of Henry VIII, the tower became a place of betrayal and death. It was here that Anne Boleyn, Henry's second wife, was imprisoned. Once adored as a queen, she was accused of treason and adultery. On a cold May morning in 1536, she walked calmly to the scaffold, her lips whispering a final prayer. With one clean stroke of a sword, her head fell, and legend says her spirit never left. To this day, guards claim to see a pale woman dressed in Tudor gown, carrying her own severed head, gliding silently across the courtyard. But perhaps the darkest story of all is that of the two young princes, Edward and Richard. After the death of their father, King Edward IV, they were brought to the tower by their uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester. They were meant to await Edward's coronation, but they were never seen again. Soon after, their uncle became King Richard III, and whispers filled the kingdom. Some said the boys were murdered in their sleep, smothered and buried beneath the stairs. Centuries later, two small skeletons were found beneath the tower, and even now, the faint laughter of children is said to echo through the night. The tower wasn't only a prison for royalty. It was a nightmare for anyone accused of treason. Instruments of torture filled its chambers: the rack, the scavenger's daughter, the manacles that tore muscle from bone. Prisoners' screams once echoed through these halls. One of the most infamous was Guy Fawkes, the man who tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament in 1605. He was interrogated and tortured here until he finally confessed. Some nights, visitors say they can still hear the rattling of chains, the faint gasps of agony, and the smell of smoke drifting through the air. The tower's haunted legends don't end there. Guards, known as beefeaters, tell tales of ghostly apparitions that patrol the grounds. A bear that once belonged to King Henry III, still seen roaming the corridors. Lady Jane Grey, the 9 Days Queen, seen weeping by the execution block. And the headless figure of Anne Boleyn, appearing in the Chapel Royal during moonlit nights. Even ravens, the great black birds that live in the tower, are said to protect it. Legend has it that if the ravens ever leave, the kingdom itself will fall. And so, to this day, their wings are clipped to make sure they stay. Today, the Tower of London stands as a symbol of Britain's past, a museum filled with jewels, armor, and relics of power. But when the sun sets, the tourists leave, and silence takes over, it becomes something else entirely. The faint whispers return, footsteps echo through empty halls, and in the moonlight, the shadows move just a little too naturally. Is it imagination, or the ghosts of those who suffered here, still walking the fortress that stole their lives? The Tower of London isn't just a monument of stone. It's a monument of souls. 1,000 years of power, betrayal, and death have soaked into its walls. Every echo, every chill is a reminder that history never truly dies. It lingers, waiting for those brave enough to listen. If you enjoyed this historical horror story, make sure to like, subscribe, and share, because some stories from the past still whisper in the dark, and perhaps, one day, you'll hear them too.